evening, good evening. I am Nicole. Our music is. Good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I am super excited because it has been a long time, it feels like, since we have been on this screen. I'm super excited for everyone who is joining us this evening, who is here with us and just having a great time. It is the holiday season, people. It is Christmas time, my favorite time of the year. So, yes, I am corny. I have on a whole headset and I have a matching PJ set. I know I'm corny. It's what I do. But we are here to celebrate the holidays. So, good evening and happy Tuesday. The last time we were on this screen, we spoke about me. I was in the hot seat and I answered a lot of very crazy and scary questions, but I was as transparent as I could be because I love for you guys to know the real me and what goes on with me. So we had a great time. Ray took the stage and he was our host and I was the guest, and it was a good evening. So I hope tonight we'll do the same. We have a double whammy for you tonight, but before we get into that, we want to remind folks, as we always do when we are on screen, why we are here. If any of you know of someone who is dealing with domestic violence, whether it is you, yourself, a friend, a family, a coworker, whoever it is, reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. I'm trying to fix this, people, because it's a little weird on my end, so I look like I'm beat out. Tonight, we are welcomed by a phenomenal lady who joins us at least once a month. She is what I always call La Fierra Dominicana, who has credentials. We have our licensed professional counselor, Amanda Peguero, who is joining us this evening to help me not only celebrate the Christmas holiday, Las Navidades, which we all love, but also to talk about some very points of conversation that are very important tonight. So let's welcome Amanda Peguero to the stage. As per always, we welcome her and we're excited to have her. Hello, mujercita.
Hi everyone, good night y felicidades en estas Navidades in this happy holiday season.
Oh my goodness. So we're starting off this show speaking about the holidays because obviously, por supuesto, on Saturday we celebrate Christmas, which is a big holiday for us, especially Latinos, because we love to celebrate big time. So let's talk about some favorite holiday traditions. What are some things that you think about when you think about Christmas and holidays with your family?
I'm not even gonna feel shameful about this. Is the food, girl. Eating all the good food, like los pasteles en hoja, el moro, el pernil, like, girl, all the yummy food. That's the first thing. Like,
Absolutely.
starting from Thanksgiving all the way to, the first, like, Los Reyes, actually,
Yeah.
right? It's like you got food and food. And then, as your family grows, you can't celebrate everything on the same day. So it becomes
Right.
like we're celebrating it on the 22nd. We're celebrating it on the 2nd of January. So yeah, I'm all about all that great stuff.
Yes. And you know what? In Puerto Rico, it's like a whole like monthly thing that like goes on forever. Like they start early in November and they go like late into January's, with the parrandas and the food, like tempranito. It's like an ongoing thing. So for Latinos, it's a big thing, and Christmas is super exciting for me. I love Christmas time because, as I tell my friends, I am La Jibara inside the circle. If you want to know, listen, Evelyn will tell you. If you want to know what's the favorite parranda song or the most thought about parranda song, come to me because I know, because every year that is what I do. My daughter is so over me. When we get in the car around this time, it's parranda music and people are in the streets because not everybody knows what parranda music is, right? And I'll sit there and I'll listen to that Truya Express parranda, and it'll go 11 minutes and I know it verbatim, word for word, because I love Christmas. It is such a favorite holiday season for me. And the food, I attest, because the coquito is always bomb and the patel es siempre caliente. So that's exciting. That's exciting. We're going to have someone come in around 7:15. She's going to show us live how to make coquito. Everybody makes it different. But I put it out there for folks to let me know of someone who they feel made the best coquito. And she was someone who was voted as one of the best people who make it. So she's going to
Okay.
join us around then. So
I'm
listen, so
excited.
what are you doing for the holidays this year? I know you're going to be doing more exciting things than the rest of us.
I don't know if I'll be doing more exciting things, but as you were talking about traditions, one of my family's traditions is that if we can go back to La República, we're there. We're in Rede every Christmas, every New Year's, as much as we can.
That's awesome.
So our family tries to, we don't, we're older now, and a lot
Yes.
of the kids are older. Like, we only have about a handful of kids that are under the age of like 17. So we celebrate more Año Nuevo. Like,
Yes.
so everybody kind of does their own thing for para el 24 and Christmas Day. We might get together, but it's not like our family get together on my maternal side, particularly. So el 31 on the 31st, everybody gets decked out. We be pulling tags on the 31st. Everybody got a break because we got to enter the new year with new underwear, new
That's right.
socks, new everything. And Walter, may he rest in peace. We have our 12 grapes. We
Oh,
got our
wow.
maletas. So I don't know. Maybe it's because for Dominicans they need like visas or residencias to travel. But every 31st, después del cañonazo, and after you give your hugs or whatever, we exchange money
Oh,
so
wow.
we can have wealth in the new year.
Oh, that's
We
awesome.
take we take a maleta and we walk around the block or down the block or whatever, and all we say is "Este año yo viajo, este año yo viajo." And listen, call me superstitious, but I don't. That's one thing tradition I don't not do because I travel I love traveling, but
Yes.
and my family members believe that. So we be taking the maletas down, the empty maletas. You won't need nothing in it because really all you need is a ticket to travel and your
Yeah.
passport. But so we do that, and really that's what I'm going to be doing this year. So I'll be in the Dominican Republic, basking in the sun, in the salt and water, my favorite place
Oh,
in the world. And yeah, I'll just be hanging out with the fam.
oh, that sounds so great. I'll be home in the cold.
I'll send you lots of sunshine
That's
and
right. Just
virtual waves,
virtual,
and yeah.
virtual. Tíramelo, tíramelo. I think as we get older, traditions change. And I come from a family where on my mother's side, she is one of 12 children, same mother and father. So Christmas for us during the holidays when we were little was crazy. There's this 3-story house, well, four if you consider the basement. There's a 3-story house. There's like hundreds of family because 12 kids, there's like
Mhm.
hundreds of grandkids and great grandkids and great grandkids. And I don't, do you guys open a gift on Christmas Eve?
So no, but
Okay.
my kids are half Puerto Rican, so they do that. They spend
Okay.
Christmas Eve with their dad, and they love that. So they open
Yes,
gifts on Christmas Eve. We don't. Santa Claus llega el 25. They
that's
no
right.
before that. And like I said, because as you said, times have changed. A lot of the kids are so much younger
Yeah.
that we get together on the 25th so that
Yeah.
everybody can have their gifts.
Oh, that's awesome. So when we were little, that's what we did. We all went to grandma and grandpa's house, and everybody was able to open a gift at 12 o'clock
Hmm.
on Christmas Eve at grandma's house. So the tradition was so much fun because this is what everyone used to just be excited for. And it's changed so much throughout the years. After we lost our grandparents, everyone kind of spread out and did their own thing. So we've started our own different traditions amongst each other. So I'm super excited. As they say, you make it happen. Whether you think you're going to make it happen, you make it happen. So I am super excited. My daughter asked for a lot of things that I was like, oh my goodness. But this year I'm so excited to be able to give her everything that she asked for. She's done good this semester. Our girls are very close and they are great girls. So I'm super excited for her to get her gifts
Yeah.
this year. Christmas is exciting. Even for myself, because as you get older, the gifts they dwindle. Ja, you have
Nena,
kids.
nena,
Nadie te
listen.
manda nada.
Listen, there is not one Christmas gift under the tree that's mine,
I
right? But
know.
I'll tell you this. My mom and a friend, like 2 or 3 friends, gave me, cariñitos, which I
Yeah.
love cariñitos. I put them in my stocking. My kids laugh. They're like, but you already know what it is. Listen, I need something to open on Christmas
That's
Day with
right.
y'all. And I said, and for me, it's that excitement of like, oh, I can't
Yeah.
use it yet. I can't wear it yet or whatever.
Yeah.
But something that I wanted to say about what you said about traditions is in the theme of love shouldn't hurt, right?
Yes.
A lot of times when we go through traumatic experiences, the thing we mourn is the things we don't have control over, right? So
Yeah.
like not being together as a family, the
Yeah.
other side of the family that you're not going to be able to see anymore, even though everybody doesn't agree with like the situation that you're in.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I always encourage, and as a person who's gone through a divorce, it's creating new traditions for the children
Yeah.
is amazing because they help you heal. They really help you
Absolutely.
heal because you're going to be excited to do it for them. So for my kids, I used to do like we started going to the Thanksgiving Day parade like the
Mhm.
year after my divorce, just so that it wasn't like, oh, we're not going to be together as a family. No, no, no. We're doing new things. You know what I mean? And they
Yeah.
got used to it and they looked forward to it. Then I didn't want to go because it was super cold. Like it was under like 20 degrees. And I'm like, it's too cold. They're like, but we said we're gonna go every year. So I love new traditions. So don't be
Yes.
afraid to start new traditions,
Yes.
regardless of what your circumstances are.
Absolutely. I see one of the comments tonight this evening is from Angela Perez, and she says, can't even begin to celebrate after a loss. Excuse me. Angelina Perez, my love and my heart and all of my passion goes out to you and your family this evening. We are going to celebrate your sister. But one thing that I will say is right now, during this most difficult time, is exactly what Amanda said. Even though it's difficult, there has been a loss, and it's so hard to think of even celebrating with such a painful loss. Just making sure that you guys gather together and continue to love on one another through this time and remind yourselves how much your sister would want you guys to be together. Even if you guys are just together and you're just hugging each other and just crying together, please be together, enjoy one another's company, because that itself will be a celebration for your sister, knowing that you guys are together and that you're loving one another and you're all together in honor of her this evening. So
It
go
I
ahead,
was
Mand.
just
I'm
gonna say
sorry.
also just telling stories about the things she loved. A lot of
Yes.
times we mourn our lost ones and we only think about what they're not gonna be here for. So
Yes.
and it's being so close to the holidays, that has to be very, very heavy on the family.
Yeah.
So as you gather, also remembering so that you can laugh about the things that she would have said, like the little quirks she had, or the things that was like her thing to do, and maybe somebody taking it in honor of her,
Mhm.
taking it up, like, you know, whether it was Titi or, you know, whoever, like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it because Titi, I loved when Titi did this, or asking everyone in the family, like, we want everyone in the family to bring one thing that reminds us of her, whether it's a story, whether it's a plate of food, a
Yes.
drink, or whatever, and celebrating it together to remember the greatness and the amazing things that she did in her time with us.
Absolutely. So, just really quickly, as we're standing here, let's remind ourselves of what it's like around this time in Puerto Rico. Let's throw up a video of what it is during this time right now. That was so much fun. I love parrandas. I'm telling you, if I had a home that was bigger, let me tell you, I would throw one every year, but that's not how it's done, right? We start and then we pick people up at every single house. But I would be that annoying family member that would start it, and I would be the loudest one at the front door trying to get inside because I love parrandas. We
I
love rain.
agree. I agree. You. I don't know if we want you to start it. I think we should end at your house.
Yeah, you should.
Because by the end, people start to die, people start to die down. So
Yeah, I need
then
to wake
when
them up.
you need to be like, and here's the thing, it's so funny, right? So I grew up in the islands. I think I've said this before, but I spent several Christmases in Puerto Rico, and so I enjoyed that. I got to experience that part of the Puerto Rican culture, and I loved it very much. But one thing that I always remember, right, is that the fun parts of parranda, this is me as a kid, and clearly I'm not shaming myself at all. I am loving it. I love that every house was ready. Yo, they had the pasta guayaba, el quesito,
Yes.
la galletita. Like they had everything ready for people to show up. And I love that. I just love that. And I don't know if that's why Latinos are so passionate and full of energy because, like, when we go in, we go all in, if you think about it.
Yeah, we do. We do. Well, talking about favorite holiday traditions and doing things that are just so much fun and only during this time, we have a special visitor tonight with us. I'm going to let her introduce herself when she comes on the screen. She is who they said was one of the people in Philadelphia who makes coquito the best. So tonight, live on the screen, she's going to make some coquito for us. So let's welcome our guest tonight. Hello, how are you?
Hi. Good, good.
Nice to have you. Well, listen, when we said who out there makes coquito, somebody put your name up there as one of the best people in Philadelphia. So I am excited to have you. Tell the viewers, who are you? What is your name?
Hi, I'm Aime Bermudez. I'm from Philadelphia. And yeah, I do coquito. I do a lot of other stuff.
Awesome. Well, listen, as you're making it, tell us the ingredients that you're putting in. And listen, do your thing. Go ahead, Glove. We are watching.
All right, so we use the crema de coco. We use leche de coco,
Awesome.
carnation milk, and condensed milk. There's a can of each.
So you're making regular coquito, right? Because when we
Yes,
spoke, you had a bunch of
original.
different flavors.
Yeah, I do a lot. I do Oreo, pistachio, Nutella, banana, strawberry, a whole lot.
Whereby.
All right, so you're gonna put one can of each.
Okay.
If you're gonna make like for a bottle, let's say this size.
Okay.
All right, hold
So let me ask you, Aime, right?
on.
Did you grow up drinking it as an adult in a legal age? Let's put that out there. And then
Well,
someone taught you. I know, girl.
no,
We're being PG.
I
We're being
started
PG.
young, but
We're being PG.
they used to give it to us without alcohol in it.
Oh, okay, that's smart.
Yeah,
And
like
then
that's how I do to my kids now. I give it to them without alcohol.
gotcha. And then did you just want to learn to make it, or is this a tradition that was passed down from your
It was
family?
passed down. Actually, my godfather, he was the one who really got us into it when I was young, and I always used to like it. And then like a few years ago, I called him and I asked him for the recipe, and he just said, "All right, just what do it like this, and then just don't add eggs to it, because not a lot of people like eggs.
Hmm.
Some people are allergic to it, so I started doing it like him.
Yeah, I don't like it with the eggs either.
Yeah, it gets messed up easily. All right, so we're
Yeah.
gonna put it's like 2 tablespoons of coconut.
Awesome. A lot of people like that flavor of the
Yeah,
coconut pieces in there.
cinnamon, ground cinnamon, just whatever you want on it. Where's my thing? We're gonna use a teaspoon of vanilla. That's to your liking because it's already sweet because of the
Right.
condensed milk, so it's not
Absolutely.
really needed. And then the main ingredient,
That's
part
the most important part.
the most.
And people, she's making that bottle for me. So you could keep pouring. No, I'm joking.
She
So
ain't
I
joking.
usually do It's basically you're gonna take the whole little bottle. It's a cup, a whole
All
cup.
right, that works for me. I'll promise to share with my friends.
Mm,
She a whole lie.
let's see. All right, so just mix it.
Ooh, you get to hear the blender and everything.
Yeah, I let it blend for a little bit because it has the shredded coconut. So
Right.
Yeah.
Do you make it so much that you get tired of it, or is this something that you still enjoy to drink all the
I
time?
no, I love it. I
Okay.
love it.
I've had people
I
tell me that
love
they
it.
make it so much they don't drink it. They just make it now for others because they've drunk it so much.
Yeah, I do make it more for others than what I drink it.
Mhm.
But every time I do a new flavor, I usually make one for myself.
Awesome.
Okay, so we just pour it in.
I like the sound of the liquid going in.
You are so excited.
I
You wish
am.
it.
She's
You
like,
wish
after
that,
I make it, the bottles for you. I'm like, yes.
and you're like hoping your doorbell goes ding dong. Here you go.
And
Like if delivery was that
that's
quick.
basically
Yeah.
it.
Right. Awesome.
Awesome. So how can people in Philly reach you? I mean, how can they reach you so that they can get bottles from you?
They could either hit my DM. What's my thing?
She's like, what is my Instagram?
I don't give it out. It
That's okay. If you can't remember at the end of the show,
Yeah,
I'll be sure to put it inside the comments.
it's Aime. It's Aime 2021. No, they could see it there. I'll give it to her. It's too long. Or they could hit my Facebook, Aime Bermudez Sosa, and they could just hit me up.
Awesome. And what are
We
the
got different
prices?
flavors and
Coquito,
different
coquito.
prices.
Awesome. Well, look, she has hers.
No, there
Thank
you
you
go,
so
Lola.
much for joining us. Thank you for giving us a little bit of that tradition.
Salud.
Gracias. Mira, there you go.
Salud.
No tengo
Yes.
coquito, pero el vino. Salud, ladies. Have a good Christmas, Jaime.
Salud. You too.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
I love it. Tradiciones, tradiciones. Well, listen, we are we are coming to the end of this segment because we want to make sure that we give enough time and enough love to our second segment. So, if there's one thing that you want to say to our viewers about Christmas, Miss Amanda, what message would you like to give to them this holiday?
So this holiday, I think is gonna mean a lot more for all of us. I
Mm,
think after being quarantined last year, it was difficult. We weren't able to hug and celebrate each other as much. So for example, for me, I'm really super duper excited because last year I didn't get to travel to see
mhm,
my family in the Dominican Republic. So I'm like super excited to get together. This year is really important for me. I had a loss this year, a very great matriarch in my family. I lost her, so for me, it's just like that togetherness, that being with people who understand and feel
mm.
the sorrow, but also the happiness and the pride of being in her family tree
Yeah,
is going to be great. So I think the thing that I'm going to say is that 2020 and 2021 has been such a heavy year of loss
yeah.
that we need to start to resurface the joy, and we
Mhm.
need to find and rebuild it and cultivate it, and also like make it mandatory, like make it
Yeah,
mandatory that either people are in your life to bring joy or they're not. And
yeah,
let's not just worry about the new year's resolution, but let's remember that like we can put it into, we can manifest what we want in our lives, and you
absolutely.
have to start manifesting it now. And for me this year, I want to manifest joy with myself and with my loved ones, and I hope that you guys do the same.
Awesome. You always have such a bright and amazing. It's like you don't even have to try, people, and you have to understand it to just be around her. This woman alludes like just joy, and she makes you feel good even in your worst moments. So we always are so appreciative of Amanda being here. I just wish for all of you to have an amazing holiday season. I think that the fact that COVID has still been around for such a long time, and so many people thought that it would be gone by this point, it had brought such a damper to like a lot of people. You know, the families cannot get together still the way that we would like to. We can't travel as much as we would like to. We can't do
Mhm.
things that we would normally do. So I just hope that wherever you are in the world, this Christmas, this holiday season, and going into the new year, that you find exactly what Amanda said, just something, as I always say, something positive. I've had a very difficult end to my year, from brand new things to just totally not having the things that I thought that I would have around. And it's been very, very, I'll be transparent, difficult the past few weeks. But I continue to just push forward and remember that it is not just myself. I have my beautiful daughter, and I am so grateful to have her. Our family is separated because of the holiday and sick loved ones. But the fact that we are still here and they are still present and they are still able to pick up the phone or FaceTime or communicate with us is still a blessing in itself. So I hope all of you have an amazing Christmas. You have an amazing New Year. And listen, pa'lante todo el mundo. Let's go forward into this holiday and into this new year with positive thoughts, because even though you feel as though you're one person who can't make a difference, just something small will make the difference. So I hope that you all have a super duper duper happy holiday. So we will do what we normally do at the half point. I want to remind folks why we are here, because we have a mission at Love Shouldn't Hurt. If you or someone you know is dealing with some form of domestic violence, whether it is physical, emotional, mental, financial, whatever the case may be, whether it is yourself, a family, a friend, a coworker, please be sure to reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233, as well as hitting us at any of our social media at loveshouldnothurt.com. This, and I get super emotional, so you'll hear it in my voice, but the remainder of our show is going to be dedicated in remembering Veronica Perez. This is a recent loss to the community. Unfortunately, just this past week, a grave loss has happened. We lost Veronica Perez at the hands of suicide. There have been a lot of different stories that have been circling around because of this death. And we wanted to do her justice. We wanted to put an end to all of the stories and all of just the different things that have been taboo, in social media and everywhere else. Veronica Perez was an amazing woman. I had the just pleasure of being able to communicate with her, come into contact with her. I was able to take her family photos for her children and herself one Christmas. She celebrated my birthday with me one year. I worked with her sister closely, and she was a very, very amazing woman. So let's put up a picture of her so that we can see her beautiful face and remind folks of who she was. That was Veronica Perez. I am looking at our chat box. I see that a lot of her family is here. Excuse me. I hope that you guys know that we are here with with all of you during this difficult time. I know that it is a very difficult time. What we are going to talk about during this time is not only justice for Veronica, because she was an amazing soul, but we do want to speak about the things that led to where we are today. A lot of folks believe that physical abuse is all you have when you're going through domestic violence. And they always say, oh my goodness, if I was not hit, I did not deal with domestic violence. Well, unfortunately, folks, without the education and the proper knowledge of what domestic violence is, you would never know that mental abuse, as well as verbal abuse and emotional abuse and financial abuse, is real. Veronica was a loving, happy mother, sister, friend. She was someone who everyone loved. She had a lot of joy, a lot of passion in her heart. She was not a depressed, sad woman, but unfortunately, due to the mental abuse that she endured, the emotional abuse that she endured, Veronica took her life. So we want to talk about it tonight. We want to remember, what those forms of abuse are. We want to give examples. And Amanda is here on the perfect evening because she has dealt with different forms of trauma. And she is the best person to have this conversation with. So Amanda, I know that you've dealt with so many different forms of abuse, even from children and different things, but give us your opinions, especially on, emotional and mental abuse, because it's something that people think do not exist.
I think that the biggest thing that I can say about that is the silent killer, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't leave a mark, a physical mark that people can see. It's harder to explain, right? Because especially with the financial and the emotional, we hear it with the physical, right? But then why are you taking it? Just walk away, just leave, right? With the financial, it's kind of like you're independent, you can do it yourself. And we've said this in the past, right? It's really easy from an outsider to say to the person going through it, like it's an easy out, but there's layers, right? So the emotional, the mental, and the financial start way before sometimes the physical does. And I think that we've talked about that, right? The physical sometimes is the last one to show up. but it's been dealt with in so many. The abuse has been built, not dealt with. It's been built up in so many ways to the point that it's really hard for sometimes for our victims to have a voice.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a voice, plus you don't have the financial backing, or you don't have the emotional strength. And what I mean by that is, have you guys ever been in a situation with someone consistent? Let's put it in the terms of not abuse, right? But in a job where
Absolutely.
you're constantly being told you're not doing the right job, even though you're trying your hardest.
Right.
Eventually, you start to believe, like, maybe I'm not good at this. Maybe I'm not supposed to be in this field, right? Like, maybe I'm
Right.
not supposed to be doing this. So it comes to the same thing, right? If you're constantly being told you're not worth anything, you're not gonna be anything without me. I make you who you are,
Right.
or the threats,
Right.
right? I'm gonna take everything from you, your
Hmm.
family, your kids. Nobody's gonna believe you. Nobody's gonna want to be around you. Those are all things that, with a buildup, all it takes is one straw for someone to feel like they're at a loss and they can't do anything else. So
Definitely.
I like to call it the silent killer, because there is no physicality that you see that a person can demonstrate for you to say, I knew something was off. You know how sometimes we have folks who are survivors, or family and friends of survivors of domestic violence, and they go like, something was off. I could tell.
Right.
Well, if you don't manage their finance, how can you tell?
Yeah.
Right? And if they're not a person to talk about their finance, how would you be able to tell? If they put up a good front, which Chrissy, you yourself have talked about how
Yeah.
you put on that good front every time,
Yeah.
you didn't want people to think bad about him, you didn't want people to
Right.
think bad about you. So if you put up a good front, how would I know that emotional and mental abuse is happening and that you're suffering with all of that?
Yeah. It's difficult. I think the most difficult part for me was knowing her, being in contact with her, and like, when she came to my birthday that year, just coming to me and just grabbing me, the DJ did this challenge and she was like, come on, you're going to be my partner. Like, she had an energy about her. She was just, full of energy. When she came to take her kids pictures, she was trying to make them laugh, and like, to see that, and then for me to go on to, social media and just see that there was such a loss, and just to be taken back, when you see people, and it's exactly that,
Mhm.
because you have no idea, what's going on. The abuse is scary because, physical abuse, you can see when somebody gets punched in their face, they have a black eye. You can see when someone gets their hair pulled, they have patches missing from their hair, you can see that. But to not know the turmoil and the abuse that someone is going through because they can't physically see it is even more difficult. How can your family help you? How can your family remove you from that situation? And then the mental abuse, where you think you need that person. So even if the people are trying to help you to remove yourself from that, it was just really, really, difficult for them to remove themselves from it, because in their mind, they're just like, I'm okay. I can get out of this situation. I'm going to be all
Correct.
right. And it was really, really, really hard for me to see that this person was lost. There's a lot of talk, and this is the reason why we're doing this tonight. There was so many different stories that were thrown out into the media, and because Isa is a friend of mine and we did work together, that is her sister. I advised her when we spoke over the phone and other times through just text that I'll continue to say her name, because those who know that what we do here at Love Shouldn't Hurt is continue to put it out there, remind
Mhm.
folks of what these different forms of abuse are, and just let people know the truth about things that go on. We're very transparent on this show. Amanda knows we're here and she can say anything she wants. We are super transparent. There is someone out there who is still walking, who believes that they hold no fault in what, took place. Um, I see your comment. And yes, that was me. I took your family pictures that year. So I'm so sorry for your loss. I feel, first of all, just floored. I see the number of folks who are watching right now. So I know just in that how many people loved her. There's
Yeah.
so many people here who continue to put up justice for Veronica and who are watching and supporting the show tonight. So that in itself shows you that she was loved by so many people and they're feeling this loss. I think that, we need to continue to do shows like this, especially with Amanda on, who's someone who knows it, knows the trauma so well. We need to continue to remind folks that mental abuse is an abuse that will have this
Yes.
outcome. It is
Mhm.
super important for us to recognize mental and emotional and verbal and all of these forms of abuse. This individual took her to a point where she felt that she was nothing. He took her to a point where she thought that this is what she had to do. Her finances were cleaned out of her bank account. She had to support this person. And unfortunately, they're still walking. They're still fine with going on with life. And now an amazing life was lost. So if there's anything that's taken away from tonight and from knowing that Veronica is now gone, is the fact that everyone who is watching, if you are recognizing these signs within people, I know folks who have gone around and have told me, Christina, I'm not in a domestic violence relationship at all. He's never hit me before, but they don't realize they are in one. If you see those signs, start to reach out to them, start to provide them the support that they need, because even though they feel as though he tells me that I'm fat, but he's not hitting me, or yeah, he told me that every month I have to give him $20, but I'm sorry, every week I have to give myself $20, but he takes the rest of my check, but he doesn't hit me. All of those are forms of abuse. They are forms of abuse. If someone is controlling your finances, that is abuse. If they're separating you from your family, you cannot see your family certain times, you cannot have certain friends, that is abuse. These are all signs that people believe are not domestic violence. They believe that it is just a controlling boyfriend, a controlling girlfriend, or somebody who's just jealous. We will not be here today if this did not happen. I'm looking at some of the comments because there's so many people writing right now. Isa, thank you for being here tonight. Isa is her sister. We worked together a few years ago. She says most of all to warn the next woman so she doesn't become a victim, which is something that is super, super important to Isa right now. She wants to make sure that no one else is a victim to this person. My heart aches hearing all of this. I'm sorry, Vero. El que aquí lo hace, aquí lo paga. Hay un Dios de justicia. I'm floored by all of the comments that are continuing to come in. I am appreciative for all of you for being here. This is a difficult conversation, Amanda. People are passionate right now. She unfortunately she took her own life. But there was a lot that led up to that death.
Yeah, I think that a couple things that you said tonight is that, and I see it coming up, there's definitely manipulation. I saw someone else put up, the fact that they get their family members involved to bully you and to add. So then not only is it just one individual, causing all of this emotional and mental abuse. Now you have an entire conglomerate of people that are on that person's side because they get their perspective of the story, right? And then they add to the trauma and they add to the pain and suffering. I want to also say to the family members, I am so sorry for your loss. I know that nobody can mend your hearts right now. I want us to also make sure that you focus on the love with each other. And the one thing that I want to send, and I always send this, and it's like, how can we make this better? Is that we need to remember sometimes that we don't know what someone's going through. So let's be kind. I always push kindness. Every time I'm on the show,
absolutely,
I'm pushing kindness. But also, let's pay attention. If we see that something's off with our loved ones, rather than, being like, oh, well, she ain't called me in a week. And I'm not saying that this is what happened with this family. I'm just saying to all of us out there this is opening your eyes to like, wait a minute, I should check on my loved ones because I don't know what they're going through. Like, it's just a simple phone call. The other thing is that in this day and age, technology has separated us a little bit from our loved ones. We connect ourselves to text. And if it wasn't for my job, right, where in my job, I can communicate with you via text, but for my confidentiality focuses on my privacy, I need to know it's you. So I have to pick up the phone and hear your voice. It's the same thing, right? If we want to know how our family members are doing, pick up the phone and have a conversation with them. Invite them out to grab a coffee. Something as simple, or let's stop by and just say hi to each other. I just want to give you a hug. One of the most annoying things in my life, right? And I'm going to make this for a second about me, is that my cousin just pops out of my house. She pops up at my house. She might pop out while we're in this call. I don't know. But it's one of the things I love about her, right? Because she's like, where you at? I wanted to see you. I wanted to put my hands on you. I wanted to hug you, and it's just, she wanted, and she'll be here 5 minutes and she's out. Right. So I think that it's important that we remember that even though we've been apart, that we take some time to love on each other and to hug on each other and to remember that you guys have a village as well. Don't let the village that bullied her, don't let those people get the upper hand and have the louder voice. Like, use your platforms, use your voice so that this message gets out there, so that she is remembered in the right way. So that people don't get to tell her story, that the people who love her and who are the most affected by this loss actually get to use their voice. And like Christina said earlier, like, use it in a positive way. Make sure you're telling her story, not the other person's story, because the other person's story is going to be out there on their own. And speak on her and what she believed in, and so that she's remembered in the appropriate way. And then finally, just to say, like, emotional and mental abuse, the victim never knows when it starts. So people, I think I've even asked you this, Christina, like, when did you notice? And they don't know when it starts. By the time they notice it, their grasp of the other person is already on them.
Absolutely.
And it's not the physical grasp, because if there was a physical grasp, we might see marks, right? It's the grasp of, like, you ain't nothing without me.
Yeah.
And I'm in control. So just remember that. So it's important that, we always talk about when someone's in a new relationship, they distance themselves. And I would say, then I'm going to push in forward. I want to know more about this person. I want to be in your life. I want them to think that wherever you go, I'm going.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we have to counter this, because this is just affecting our entire world and our entire nation so consistently, Christina. I mean, it's just happening more than it needs to be happening. Yeah. So I think that a lot of people be like, how do we deal with it? I think we need to lean into it more, meaning we need to lean into each other more, and we need to be like in each other's business a little more. And maybe that way, not that we're going to stop it, but people are going to be more hesitant. Like, and if someone's questioning you why Amanda's in your business so much, you should be wanting Amanda in your business. You should be wanting me to know where you are, how you do, and inviting you to my house. If you don't want me in your life and I'm a good person in your world, then why? Like, that would question that. That's where I stand with that. We're like, as friends, as families, and as loved ones, we need to just lean to it and lean into our loved ones a little more and get involved a little more with each other. I don't know if I got kicked off. Are you guys there? I'm just going to keep talking, because I'm not sure if we lost Christina and she lost her connection. But I want the family to know that we are definitely going to continue. Love Shouldn't Hurt stands for this. And we are definitely going to continue to talk to the audience and keep, saying her name. Christina definitely said that. We're going to continue to say her name and continue to be involved in anything that has to do with making sure that others who are in any domestic abuse relationship or anything that's affecting their family and friends, that we are here to support them. Love Shouldn't Hurt stands for this. This is what we are here for. As you all know, it started, when Christina lost a loved one, but Christina herself has been a victim of domestic violence. So this is deep and dear to her heart. So I don't want the family to think that it's just like, oh, we're doing this one show for her. No, this is the beginning. And we want to support you guys in any way that we can.
Absolutely. I'm sorry, but folks, I was having some technical difficulties, which threw me off the screen, but I know that Amanda did more than justice, because she always does. That's what happens when you're live. Sometimes it makes us disappear, but Amanda is always here. We want to continue to remember her. We're going to continue to show her face. We say this often when we do this show, that, as she just said, this isn't something that we just do just because, sometimes people say that it's done for the limelight, or maybe it's done for just so that we can get the fame. But I take this show and everything that we do with our organization super, super personal. We have an upcoming run, a 5K that is happening very soon in the next few months. What we are doing in this 5K will be a little different from last year. Last year, we came out, we enjoyed ourselves. We had this 5K, we ran, we did what we had to do. But this year, we are going to remember all of the victims, all of those who have been lost. So I urge anyone who is out there, who is watching, who is participating in tonight's show, listen, if you have a family member that you have lost at the hands of domestic violence, if you have someone in your life that you have lost at the hands of domestic violence, please, please, please forward their names and their photos to us. We will be having huge banners displayed for everyone in the community to see. We want to continue to show these faces. We want to continue to say their names because we want people to know that domestic violence is something that we know is out there. It is real, and we want their names to be heard. We cannot stop this. We cannot say that today is the end of it because we know that it continues to happen, but we are going to continue to work and forge through and trying to stop it one person at a time. If there's anything that you took away from tonight's show, I hope it's that you love on your loved ones, lean in on faith, and remind them how much you love them, how much they mean to you. And listen, I've seen lots of the comments. Some of the comments were that, we tried to be supportive, or we wanted to help her from the beginning. Please never give up on your loved ones. When you feel as though they're going through a situation and you think to yourself, oh my God, they're not listening, I'm frustrated, I want to give up, don't give up on them. Because in that moment that you believe that you're about to give up is the moment that it's the most difficult for them. And they are absolutely, put it right here, they absolutely are going to be a just loved on by all of you. So currently, you hear me saying side notes, right? Currently, we just had someone drop off a donation. So, I want people to know that this is what we do. We had a drive for 3 of the families that we relocated because of domestic violence. The mothers for these 3 families can no longer work because of their abuse. So because they can no longer work, we wanted to make sure that even though we relocated them, their children would have a great Christmas. So I know there's a lot of craziness. I popped off the screen for a little bit, but that is because I was having some difficulties with the person calling because of all of the amazing gifts that she was dropping off for that. So I want you guys to know that this love shouldn't hurt thing is a forever thing. It is not a just Tuesday night thing. It is not a Christina does it sometimes thing. This is something that we are doing to support your family. So for all of Veronica's family who is watching, just know. Yes, someone is asking, are we live and can we see what's in the chat? We can see. If you are speaking and you are sending messages, it is live and we can see what you are writing. We are here to support you. We are going to continue to say Veronica's name. We are going to continue to talk about it because domestic violence is something that will not stop being spoken about if I am still alive. So every day that I am here, we will continue to talk about it, especially through our organization. Amanda, any few final words for folks about the warning signs for emotional, mental, financial, any of the abuse that we are speaking about tonight in reference to Veronica's situation?
So I'm going to say this again. It's the silent killer. There's really no way to grasp on when was the beginning, when was the middle, when was the end. It all happens really swiftly, really quickly. I'm going to keep saying this, is to lean into your loved ones, be invested in your loved ones, especially those that you are concerned about. If you feel like something, we all get this gut feeling like something's off. However, I would say you will notice that they pull away. You will notice that they're not as involved in things that they were. There will be a change in them, and not a change into the uplifting of them. So focus on that, right? Because people change. We all change, right? We change our hair color, we change our weight, we change, but if you notice that they loved, being involved at their job. Let's say they had a phenomenal job. It was their dream job and they got it. And all of a sudden they're slacking, they're showing up late, and they might give you little hints. Pay attention when they speak, right? Oh, I really hate my job. Then dig into why they hate their job. And you've come to find out it's not that they really hate their job. It's just that things at home aren't okay. So when they go to work, they're so stressed about home that they can't do their job effectively. Pay attention to, their interactions with people that they might have been really close to. We all have that family member. I just talked about my cousin, right? Who's invested. Mm-hmm. And if they start to change with you, or they start to pull away from you, that's something that you should maybe be more attuned to and see what's going on. The other thing is we all want to pull them out. And there has been no one who has sat on the screen with you when I've watched or when I'm on or through the chats that mm-hmm. has said that someone came in and pulled them out. Right? We all try to pull them out. And what happens? Because you, Christina, you and I have this conversation all the time. I have someone, they really need a parent, a sister, a child have reached out and say, help me help my loved ones. Mm-hmm. And you can pull them out. But if they're not ready, they're going to go back. Don't shame them when they go back. Mm-hmm. Remember that this is a process. Just like there was a process to build up all of that abuse, it's a process to break it down. Yeah. So like I said, lean in, be kind, and love one another.
Absolutely. I wanted to read one of the comments that came in. This is from Patrick Kane. He says, I'm asking because she was my boss, the greatest person ever. I'm so saddened by everything, and I didn't know how to reach out to the family. The same goes for the rest of us that work at the office because we are all still just left in the dark, shocked. Thank you so much for watching tonight, Patrick. You know, I believe that this is something that shocked a lot of individuals, not only individuals who just saw this, you know, for the first time, like myself on social media and was just floored when I saw it, but I'm sure plenty of people like I've seen other coworkers who commented on their pictures like, wow, that's my boss. I can't believe this right now. I'm sure that this was something that was super, super surprising for a lot of folks. Suicide is not something that anyone obviously expects. I just want people to remind you over and over and over again, mental abuse, verbal abuse, emotional abuse is real. And this is one of our biggest examples of that. It is real. It is so real that it can diminish a person over a period of time, and it can lead to this tragic ending. I know that this is a terrible, terrible ending to this, but I will continue to vow, just as I see Debbie Rios, I see that you are here, beautiful woman. My organization was started and continues to be in honor of another beautiful woman who lost her life at the hands of domestic violence, Linda Rios. We will continue to say Linda's name. We will continue to say Veronica's name. We will continue to say the names and show the faces of all of those who have been lost because of domestic violence. If there's anything that I can vow to all of you tonight, is that we will continue to tell her story. Social media is powerful, people. I know that people sit there and they're like, I'm sick of social media. You're on social media too much. You have no idea the depths that social media can take you. In one day, one post has had so many people inboxing me. What Veronica went through is not a solo situation. The person who is responsible for this has had other victims. And because of social media, they are all coming out. So I am certain, and I have so much confidence that justice will be served, that the person who is responsible for diminishing Veronica will have their day in court. And I know that, you know, it's difficult for all of you to watch this, to ingest this, but just know that there are plenty of people out here who will be a support system. Please reach out to Love Shouldn't Hurt if you were looking for that support, because we are not just, as I stated, we are not just a Tuesday night show. We are not just a gala once a year or a run. Throughout the year, 365 days, we are here to give that support. We will continue to speak her name, and we will continue to remember her. I am going to get off of the screen. I'm going to leave Miss Amanda Peguero to give her final thoughts, as we always do at this time, and I will be back.
So right before I give my final thoughts, there was a question that came up as I think it was like, oh, how, thank you, Ray. How can one help when the victim does not want help? I think the key component of that is that don't think they don't want help. They're just not ready. This is a process. You have to be patient. When we find out, we want to throw the lifesaver and we want to like, come in, I got you, like reel them in. It takes time. Just, I think I've said this in other shows, like just keep throwing out the lifesaver. Just keep throwing it out. Tag team with other people, because it can be exhausting as a support person. It can be exhausting because it's kind of like hearing no consistently, right? And eventually you're like, well, then if you don't care, I don't care. And it's not that you don't care. And it's not that they don't care. It's that they're not ready. We cannot tell someone when they're ready to take a change and to make a change in their life. We can always be there. I always say this. Who are your 5 top people that if you get a flat tire, you can call and they would stop what they're doing to help you? Not so much that they're going to get in their car and help you change the tire, but that they will make sure that they either loan you their AAA, call the tow truck to help you out. Those 5 people should be your lifeline as well when you're trying to help a loved one to get out of a situation like this. So you guys can tag team it. So keep throwing out the help, keep checking in, keep saying, hey, let's meet up, keep, being invested in their life. And I'm going to keep saying this tonight because I think it's the appropriate line is lean into each other. Let's disconnect a little bit from the social media when it comes to connection. I'm not saying that your friend in Nebraska, you can connect through social media, but I have friends all over the world. And every once in a while we'll text and we'll say, I need to see your face. So we take a FaceTime call. And actually we end up having like 2-hour conversations. So maybe doing that. The text is very disconnected, but it is a check-in. So I'm not minimizing it. If you can do that, do that. But I would say don't force them, or don't put a timeline to when they should be ready for help. They need the time to see themselves in this new role, in this new place where this other person has told them they can never go back to, because they are nothing without them. So to end tonight, I love being here with my love Shin and her family. It is my last show for the year. I keep you all in my thoughts and in my mind. And like always, be kind. You never know what someone's going through. So take kindness as your first step versus anger, aggression, and all the other stuff that all our victims on the show and around the world deal with. Love one another and lean in.
Thank you so much, Amanda. We love when you're on here because you bring that energy and you bring that vibe, but you also bring knowledge to the topics and the discussion. So it's super helpful for myself, especially, right? Because I get to stand here with you and I ingest all that you say as well. Believe me, you speak to the audience, but you're speaking to me directly as well. As a survivor of domestic violence, I still need to hear a lot of the things that you say because it is a lifelong process of
Yeah.
trying to get away from all of the scars that have been left on us and a lot of the things that we have tolerated or dealt with. So thank you so much for your words. Always thank you for your knowledge and for always being here and awesome. We're going to take you off the screen really quickly. I'll give my final thoughts and we'll bring you back to say goodbye. First and foremost, I want to say thank you so much for all of the folks and the viewers who have participated in tonight's discussion. I see that our chat box has gone up and down with so many different comments, a lot of different questions. If things have not been answered, I will look at all of the comments once the show is over and I will do my best to answer. If I cannot answer, I will be sure to pass that on to Amanda so that she can answer your questions. We are always available to answer you or help you. And again, if we cannot give you the specific support, we will find the person who can. I hope that you guys have taken away from tonight's show that physical abuse is not the only form of domestic violence. Mental abuse, emotional, financial are all things that are super important. One thing I did want to say and stress to everyone, because I did tell Isa that I would continue to say this and say it very, very bluntly, is that Veronica was not a miserable or depressed person. She was not someone who killed herself because she was so sad about life. She had energy. She loved her children, her grandchildren, her sisters, her cousins, her family. She was a happy individual. And unfortunately, because of the abuse she endured, it came to this ending. But she was not by any form someone who was walking around angry or depressed. And I want to say that, and I want to make that key because a lot of folks seem to believe that she must have done it because she was just always depressed and she just was unhappy. That was not the case with her. The case was definitely that she was abused. She was manipulated and a lot was taken from her. Her finances, her self-worth, everything was removed from her. And no matter how hard they tried to help her, unfortunately, this was the ending. But we will continue to remember Veronica, to speak her name and to talk about her so that she can continue to be remembered by the people who loved her. And listen, just watching all of these comments, she was loved. She was loved immensely, abundantly. And I know that we continue to post justice for Veronica, but I cannot wait for the day that we post justice has been served for Veronica, because I have faith that justice will be served. With social media, we have had so many women come forward, and I know that what we are looking for in justice is going to happen. She was an awesome person. And Veronica, we're going to say your name. We're going to repeat it. We're going to remind folks what happened to her. And we're going to remind people every day who she was as a person. We'll keep showing her face and we will spread this word for her. So thank you, family and friends who are here. I hope that we have done you justice tonight and we will continue to do so. Remember to look forward to our walk coming up in April, because we will have her picture displayed and all of the victims who have endured domestic violence. We will continue to talk about them. Before we end the night, I just want to remind folks of a few different things. Next year, we are saying goodbye to 2021. The first thing I want to say to everyone who is watching, please, please be safe. There's so much going on in the world today, not only with crime, but with all of the sicknesses and ailments and just COVID and so much going on. So please, 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 if there's something that you do walking into 2022, be safe. Practice safe practices. Make sure that you mask up. Make sure that everywhere that you go, you are making sure that you are safe and everyone around you is safe. Please, please, please follow all guidelines. I just can't stress that. We thought 2 years ago that we were living life normal, and here we are almost 3 years into this, and it is such a scary time. So please, besides the crime and everything going on, please protect yourselves and your families. Be safe. I hope you all have a fantastic Christmas. I hope you have an amazing lead into 2022. We decided this year to foster three families. We decided to do a gift drive for three families who we have relocated over this year. We have three families. We've relocated quite a few. I chose these three families because they all have young children who this Christmas felt as though they weren't going to have a Christmas. And these mothers speak to me constantly and say, because of my injuries, I cannot work. I'm in a new city. What can I do? My kids aren't going to have Christmas. And just as an example, so you can see the kind nature of folks, in front of me, I have gifts that were just dropped off by an amazing person. Her name is Christina. She actually, Christina, like me, but it's not me. She decided this year that she wanted to not buy her children presents, but to buy presents for these families who did not have a Christmas. There's so many in front of me, I can't pick them up. We've collected 35 presents physically, and we raised, Ray, let's put up that flyer of how much we raised this year for these three families who were relocated. We raised $475 for our three relocated families and collected 30 physical presents for them, not inclusive of all of the gifts that just came through my front door from Christina and her family. She wanted to make sure that her daughters knew the real meaning of Christmas this year. So we are extremely grateful for that. Thank you all for being here, guys. We will be here again to close out the year next week. We will have another great show. I love all of you. I say this genuinely often. You guys are the reason why we are here and we continue to do what we do every week. So I'm going to bring Amanda back so that we can say goodbye, and we're going to close out the show in silence, remembering Veronica Perez. Amanda, it's been real, my love.
It's always a pleasure to be here with your audience and to all my loved ones watching and all the loved ones of Veronica watching and everyone else. I hope you guys have as best of a holiday as you can. And like I said, lean into each other. I love you guys, and I will see you in the new year.
That's right. Feliz Navidad, everyone. Thank you all for being here. We're going to go off the screen and we're going to close out the show silently in memory of Veronica.